Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm finally talking about The Last of Us. Now, I feel like it's no surprise that this show was really good. It's going down as one of my favorite things I have ever watched. This series does a great job of hooking you with great characters, an amazing plot, and really convincing performances. I basically viewed this project as a show for the first time because it's been a really long time since I've visited the game, and I've also never really played it, but I've always been a big fan of the story and always hoped that it was going to get adapted into some sort of movie or TV series. And I was really worried when it was first coming out because I was scared it was going to be maybe a good TV show, but not a good adaptation, or a good adaptation, but not really a good TV show. Ladies and gentlemen, we got both. It's clear to me that everybody involved in making this show really cared about the project. It's really funny looking back to a couple months ago and people thought that Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey were terrible live-action casts for the characters. And now I really couldn't ever see anybody else in their roles. Both actors do a fucking phenomenal job throughout the entire series. Both actors complement each other constantly, and there's not a single time where one of them is better on screen than the other. They both work great on their own and work amazing together, and they built up such an amazing relationship for us to watch on screen. I was really contemplating making a video on this show because I don't think there's much I can say that everybody else hasn't already, because this show was just phenomenal. I really like that the show adaptation really focused on the title, The Last of Us. We get to see multiple different groups just like Joel and Ellie, like Henry and Sam, Bill and Frank, and the different communities and groups we see throughout the show. I love that the show dives into different ways people have been surviving. I love that we're in a time period where the world is starting over. It's trying to recuperate after all this crazy apocalyptic shit just happened. And it does such an amazing job at showing these human characters getting through it. A lot of people have reverted to being sick fucks, and I love that this show gets into that. But I also love that it gets into people just still being human and trying to survive in any way they can. I think it does an excellent job making you feel for almost any character that walks on screen, even if they're only there for a couple seconds to then get shot or killed in some sort of way. Now, something I know that game fans weren't a huge fan of is the entire infective plotline kind of taking a back seat in everything. And as somebody who's pretty much only familiar with the show, I don't really have a problem with it. I think when we have a show about zombies, and the zombies are the B plot and kind of just the setting of everything, it works a lot better. This show proves that you can have an entire series based around one thing, but not entirely entangled with it the entire time. We have multiple different infected show up throughout all of the show. They're just never the prime focus, and I actually really appreciate that. For a zombie show, I'm really glad that they focus on the human characters as much as they did. When the show first started airing, I actually didn't realize that it wasn't just an HBO Max original series. I was unaware until about episode 3 that it was actually airing on live TV, and it's weird to think that everybody in my family is watching The Last of Us. My brother and I have always been fond of the games, but it's weird when my mom is asking me if I caught the new Last of Us episode, and I just think that's a lot of fun. Or my grandfather's asking me if I saw the crazy fucked up shit that just happened, or the heartwarming moment between characters. I think this show did an amazing job at showing what humans will do when they only have a few things to protect. It dives into the importance of not being alone, of purpose, of having reason for life instead of just surviving. And I think we can learn a lot from that. I don't know if this show's necessarily brought families together, but I wouldn't be surprised if it has. Not only are people watching it together, but the themes in the show are reminding you of who to care about and to not take these people for granted because they could be gone in an instant. The whole world could be. Trying to remind us what living is really all about. There really weren't many problems that I had with this show at all, and honestly, I might have a few gripes if I was a game fan, but as somebody who just really appreciated the story and everything that went into making this series possible, I just had a good time. I'm just really blown away and impressed by the show they were able to put out. As most people, I'm not usually looking forward to video game properties being adapted into movies or TV shows, but this is a fine exception where it worked out really well. 2023 is looking to be a big year for video game properties. This month, The Last of Us ended with an amazing finale and overall just an amazing show. And next month, Mario comes out, and we get to see Illumination's take on the Super Mario Bros. Franchise. I hope that movie is good, because it looks like 2023 is going to be a big year for video game franchises being adapted into other things. And I'd like to see more love go into these properties because it's really, really awesome when we get to see it done right. Overall, I think I'm going to give The Last of Us a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed myself throughout the entire series, and I'm really excited for episode 2. I have no idea if they're going to adapt the second game, but if I'm going to be real with you guys, I'm going to play the first one and then probably get through the second one, hopefully before this second season is released, because it takes me fucking forever to play video games. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. I have a movie and TV show review playlist if you're interested in any more reviews on anything you like. I also did videos on the first and third episode of this show, so if you want more Last of Us content, please check it out. But as always, like, comment, and save Norbert now. Goodbye, guys.